Daniel, do not many Muslim scholars talk about using reason and rationality to first accept God? Yeah, that's what some Muslim scholars will talk about. But how can you trust your reason and rationality? What is reason and rationality based in? Like, this is the same kind of problem that Dillahunty has. Like, Dillahunty wants to talk about, well, is there good evidence for God? He's basically asking, like, is it rational to believe in God? Is it rational to believe in God? And what we have to ask him back is, well, what is your definition of rationality? What is human rationality? What constitutes human rationality? We have to ask that question first. That's what Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah does. And this is also, this is, like I said, different moments in history, in different civilizations, you had this insight. I didn't go into Ludwig Wittgenstein, but he had the same insight. Ludwig Wittgenstein is a very interesting philosopher in Western philosophy. He had this book called the Tractatus. He basically wanted to end philosophy. He said philosophy is a waste of time because it's not systematic and it's not logical. If we approach it in a logical, systematic way, we can end philosophy because we can solve every problem through a logical, systematic study. And his book, Tractatus, the Tractatus, was an attempt to do this. But then he realized after he had written that book, his Tractatus became a major success. People were very impressed by that. It had a big impact on analytic philosophy of the time. Analytic philosophy is like philosophy in America and the UK. But it was very successful, and it forwarded this empiricist philosophy of that time. Like, everything, knowledge needs to be based on science and scientific facts that we can verify. This was empiricism and the positivist philosophical movement. But then Wittgenstein destroyed that same movement that he had strengthened with his work. He destroyed it in what's called his later philosophy, and he published another book, Philosophical Investigations. Amazing book, Philosophical Investigations. And what is the point of Philosophical Investigations is that, well, it has many themes, but one of the main themes is that when you're doing this type of abstract philosophy, like you're treating philosophy like a bunch of equations and analysis, like maximum level of analytic thinking and scientific thinking, you lose a big component of reality. You really have strayed from the domain of reality. Because, so how does he explain this, or how can this be understood? Reality, we talk about reality in a kind of ordinary language. Like, we have this ordinary language when we talk to our friends, our family, our coworkers, our colleagues. We have a certain ordinary language, and that's what life is about. Like, when you think about life, you think about yourself, you think about your future, you think about what you love, what you hate, what you enjoy doing. Your whole thinking is based on a type of ordinary language, ordinary concepts, everyday common sense concepts. That's what life is about. And that's how you understand reality. That's how you're plugged into reality. There's no reality outside of your own experience of it. And that experience is modulated or mediated through this ordinary language that we learn. Now, what happens in philosophy is that you generalize and you start to abstract. You start to do analysis. You start to do, you build a theory, you build a model to, your theory of knowledge, your theory of beauty, your theory of justice, your theory of, perception. You build these theories, then other academics, other philosophers come and they build on your theory, and they further generalize, they further abstract, they further analyze. And then more and more abstract theories are developed. They become more abstract, they become more general, the language becomes more arcane. And to study these works, to even understand some of these works, you have to go into do a graduate work. You have to go do a PhD. You have to study. And if you bring one of these graduate level books and have just an average person try to read them, they won't understand a word. They won't really understand what is happening. Like, what does this even mean? I can't understand a sentence of it. Even it's in plain English, but I just can't understand it. It's just too abstract. And the insight here is that, well, once the language has become so abstract and what's being discussed is so arcane, you have lost touch with the main thing that allows you to understand reality in the first place, which is your language. So this level of academic sophistication and nuance and abstraction and analysis it hasn't helped you learn more about reality. It has taken you further and further away from reality. This is the insight that Wittgenstein has, and it started its own philosophical movement in and of itself, which is ordinary language philosophy. Ordinary language philosophy, which was very influential in the 20th century, and it's very interesting. It's like a meta critique of philosophy, and I find a lot of parallels between Wittgensteinian critique of philosophy and a Taymiyan from Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah critique of Kalam. I find a lot of parallels in this, and I believe like this kind of insight is very instructive. Is very instructive to understand atheism, to understand the source of doubts, and to understand like human knowledge and its ability to grasp reality of God, reality of the world around us, reality of creation, etc.